Okay, these are the ingredients for my spaghetti sauce. If you make it with the 80% lean, it's an 8 point for a 3/4 cup serving size. Or if you use the ground sirloin, which is 90/10, it's a 6 point for 3/4. And you always measure out a ladle. This ladle here is exactly 3/4 of a cup. So when I'm scooping my sauce, I know that if I have it level with this, it's 3/4 of a cup. I put 2 cans of tomato sauce, a can of this Italian tomatoes, chopped Italian tomatoes, 2 cans of tomato paste. I use a big jar of ragu. I season my meat with the garlic salt and the Lorry salt, and I saute an onion, and I brown the beef. That's all I need for my sauce. Whatever you choose for your pasta, then obviously you'll have to figure in additional points. I'm just giving you how many points it is for the sauce, which is 6 if you use the lean meat, 8 if you use the 80/20, and I don't use turkey, so I'm assuming turkey would be way less. Okay, the first thing I do is I chop up my onions, and then I have a little bit of butter on the bottom of the pan, and then I add my onions. You never put them into a cold pan, you put them into a hot pan. And then you just saute them a little bit. And after that, you just add the meat. So let me go get the meat. I'll be right back. Okay, I've added the meat. I do not measure, unfortunately, but I use some Lorry salt, whatever you think that is. And then I use this garlic salt. I like it a little spicy. And I'm just going to brown the meat. So when I get the meat all browned, I'll be back. Okay, I don't put this in my sauce. I'd make it separate in a separate baking dish. But my family likes meatballs, and they also like sausages. The sausages are 5 points for a link, but I've cut the links in half. So if I'm going to have to add that if I decide that I want to have some sausages with my sauce. But as you can see, my meat is still browning, and I put just a little bit of water on the bottom just to help it boil a little bit, because once the water is evaporated, then I put them into the baking dish in the oven. I put it in the 350 oven for about 45 minutes. Okay, I don't make my own meatballs, and I don't like meatballs. So my family loves meatballs. So I just get these, but they're very high in points. 6 meatballs, and that's true to size, what size they are, is 10 points. I'm so glad I don't like it. But I do make them a little bit separate, and I will show you the finished product before I put it in the oven. Okay, I've browned my meat, and this is, all I do is I add my ragu. Show you here. I add my ragu into the pot. I do put a little bit of water in the bottom of the jar here, just so I can make sure I get all of the sauce out. Just enough to, get it all out. And I put that in there. And then I add a can of tomato sauce, and I stir it together, mix it in. And then I add 1 can of tomato paste. What I do is I open both ends, and then I just push it through. And then just take the lid off. And then I mix this in to thicken it up a little bit. Then I add my Italian tomatoes. Stir that in. And then I add my other can of sauce. Mix that together. And then I add another can of paste. Gotta get the lid out. My other lid of paste. Push it through. We don't have, my cousin has the tube, like it's in a tube, but the Kroger's where I shop doesn't offer that. You have to buy it in the cans like this because the tubes would be so much easier. I know they sell them in Minnesota because when Michael and I make our spaghetti sauce, we always use the tube. Okay, and then what I do is I add, I cook my meat and I drain all the fat off of it. And then I just add the meat to it and mix it together. And then once again, I don't measure, but we do like it a little garlicky. So I just add some more garlic salt. I apologize for no measurements, but you know, this is how my kids learned. They had to watch and learn because I don't measure. It's how I learned. So, okay, then I have it all done. And let me show you what it looks like. There. How is that going? I'm not doing really well, am I? There we go. And it's, there we go. It's an 8-point, if you use 3/4 of a cup for the scoop. Let me show you what a scoop would look like. It's a pretty generous portion, I think. That's more than enough. I mean, I know it's leaking over a little bit, but it's not an exact science, but it's pretty close. And if you just have a little bit of pasta noodles and 3/4 of a cup of sauce, it's more than enough. Of course, if you're going to add the sausages, it's going to be more. The sausages are going to add 5 points. The meatballs are going to add 10 points. I don't have those. I have 3/4 of a cup of sauce, and then I have 1 serving of the pasta, which I think is, I'm not sure. I think it's 5 points, but I'll check to make sure. And I just have a serving size of pasta and 3/4 of the sauce. It comes out to about 13 points. And then I have iced tea or water with my meal. And then I'm good to go. So I still have to put a little bit of sauce in my meatballs and my sausages. I'll show you that before I pop it in the oven. And I'll be right back. Okay, there's my Italian sausage and there's my meatballs. I might have a half of a sausage, and I don't eat the meatballs at all. And then I put the cover on the pan. The pan, you should cook it for about 1.5 hours on low heat. And it's an 8-point meal for 3/4 cups of 3/4 cup serving. So let me know if you like it. I know it's a high point meal, but it's kind of hard to have a pasta meal and have it low in points. So give this video a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and share. Well, I did forget to tell you that I simmer it on the stove for about 1.5 hours. Always use a wooden spoon, don't use a metal spoon because then it picks up the metallic taste. And I bake the sausages and the meatballs in the oven for about 1 hour, hour and 15 minutes well, about 1 hour at 350, and then at about 1 hour later I turn it down to 300 just so it can kind of simmer. And then it's ready to go. The pasta, whether you use mustacholi or spaghetti, is 6 points for a serving. So it ends up being a 14-point dinner. But, you know, if you plan accordingly the rest of the day, if you eat 0 points for the rest of the day, or just to split the other, most people get 23 points at least. So if you split the other 9 points over your other 2 meals, it's a possible meal. It really is. It's kind of hard to have a pasta dinner for less than that. But if you can find a way, let me know. I'm sure if you use the turkey sausages, or the turkey, it would be lower. And obviously it would be 2 points lower if you used the 90-10 meat. Something to think about. Okay.